Hello, welcome to Every Child Ready to Read. I'm Kayla and I'm a children's librarian.
And I'm Jessica, and I'm a children and teen librarian. Today, we're sharing Every Child Ready to Read, a nationwide library parent education initiative. In alignment with Every Child Ready to Read, Carnegie Library Pittsburgh provides family and teacher resources as part of our programming. And we include 2 literacy tips for caregivers and educators in every story time. We also have many useful resources on our website at www.carnegielibrary.org, including book lists, links to storytime videos, and a section dedicated to the early learning activities. ECRR recommends 5 early learning activities to prepare children for reading. These are talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. These 5 practices are easy to do with children of all ages. It's important for everyone, childcare workers and families, to know about these 5 activities because they don't require special tools or materials. You don't have to have a special degree to do these activities, and they can be done through everyday interactions, not during a special time of day that you set aside. They can be done in the classroom during circle time, during transitions like lining up for the bathroom, in the car or grocery store, or even on the playground, anywhere adults and children spend time together. We know that children who start with these early learning activities before school have greater success throughout school years, are more likely to graduate high school and become lifelong readers. This can have lasting effects on their quality of life and ability to have meaningful lives. The building blocks of literacy are these 6 early literacy skills. They can be developed through the 5 early learning activities we just discussed. We're going to do a quick rundown here of these skills and connect them to the 5 early learning activities later in the session. The first one is narrative skills. Narrative skills are the ability to describe things, talk about events, and to tell stories. Print motivation is having an interest in reading and enjoying books. Phonological awareness is the ability to hear and play with the smaller sounds and words. Letter knowledge is understanding that letters are different from each other, knowing their names and the sounds that they make. Print awareness includes knowledge of book handling and noticing that there is print everywhere. Last but not least is vocabulary. Vocabulary is knowing the names of things and their attached meaning.
We pulled some statistics from the State of Baby's Yearbook to illustrate why this work is so important. It is easy to lose sight in the day-to-day, but let's make some educated guesses about these percentages and then see what is true. What percentage of caregivers do you think reported reading to their baby daily? How about singing? Here's our answers. If you are a glass half full or optimistic person, you may think that since these numbers are around or above 50%, it is heartening. However, since early childhood is so critical to a child's ability to arrive at school ready to learn to read, we can see here that half or over half of children are not receiving daily early literacy activities at home. This makes it very important for us as practitioners to both do these activities with children and emphasize their importance in take-home materials and conversations with caregivers.
Because you play such a vital role in helping children get ready to read, whether as a parent or a caregiver, or maybe both, today we're going to present you with some application ideas you can use or promote in your daily practice. Now we're going to offer some additional information and ideas about each of the 5 early learning activities. Before we begin, think about the 5 early learning activities. They're talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. Which of the 5 activities do you think you do the most or most easily? And which of the 5 early learning activities do you do the least? Playing builds narrative skills, which are being able to describe things, talk about events, and tell stories. Now we're going to do an activity inspired by the early learning activity of play. You can pause this recording to find an object that is not a toy and think about how a child can use their imagination to make it something else to play with. For example, if I was holding a marker, I might turn it into a lightsaber. This activity demonstrates symbolic representation. It's the ability to use symbols and objects for representations. It prepares the brain for code breaking, which leads to being able to understand that letters stand for sounds and that words have meaning. In infants, we see symbolic representation through their imitation of sounds and gestures, such as animal noises for the animal itself. So calling a dog a woof woof or a bird a tweet tweet. Around the age of 2, children can substitute physical objects and symbols for the real thing. In other words, like we just did in our activity, children can turn just about anything into a phone. In the book that you see pictured here, it's called Not a Box by Antoinette Portis. Like her other book, Not a Stick, it encourages just that kind of creative thinking. It's not a box, it's a... Play is so important and necessary for healthy development of a young child that the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights recognizes play as a right of every child. This graphic represents some best practices to support learning through play. Take a moment and think about an activity, a toy, or a part of your center or your day that is a part of your daily practice. Reflect on that idea and see what parts of it are strongest when compared with this graphic. No activity will be perfect, but you can use this graphic to create a balanced offering. So for the active bubble, children have a hands-on experience or can engage mentally. Block play, for example, encourages children to solve problems, to construct, and to think critically. For the social bubble, children are given the opportunity to interact with each other, even if they are still in parallel play stage, like at playing kitchen or restaurant next to each other. Playing with friends develops social skills like sharing, taking turns, and understanding each other's emotions. For the meaningful bubble, children are given opportunities to recreate things from their own experience based on prior information and background knowledge. For the joyful bubble, children have fun and pleasurable experience with an activity. Just think of the simple joy they have when you create soap bubbles for them. Dramatic play allows children to get creative while telling or acting out stories, or take on different characters while playing dress up. Dress up is joyful for many children. And the last one, iterative. Children can repeat the play experience, giving them an opportunity to master or experiment with an outcome. Think about kids playing with blocks or climbing steps to the slide, trying repeatedly to build a higher stack or climb the stairs more confidently. This is play that is routine and not part of a special occasion.
Children learn about language by listening to adults talk and joining the conversation. As they hear the spoken words, children learn several things: how words sound, what words mean, and how words make sentences and communicate ideas. Let's look at different ages and what they are learning at each stage. For babies, some of you may know the term parentese, which is a particular way of talking to children, which involves slowing down your speech, speaking in a higher pitch, and giving pauses for them to respond. Research shows that babies spoken to with parentese had more language development at 1 year than those who didn't hear parentese during the first 9 months of life. It seems that parentese isn't needed after age 9 months. Why? Because children have different learning needs as they grow. What do you think toddlers might need to develop their language skills? For toddlers, if you're spending time with kids in this age group, you are very aware that toddlers need repetition. Practice makes permanent for them. Another thing to think about, toddlers concentrate on everything at the same level. A light blinking or a car going by has the same importance as what is being said to them, because their brains aren't efficient enough to prioritize. You can help them prioritize by talking about what it is you want them to focus on at any given time. For preschoolers, they already have some knowledge of the world around them. They can relate situations to their own experiences and can understand more when given an opportunity to verbally connect their lives to the story. They can also use their knowledge of the world to make incorrect assumptions. So it's important to talk with children and dispel any misconceptions. Answer questions as completely as possible. Your explanations help them learn more about the world. Dialogic reading is that back and forth interaction between adult and child in reading, with the goal of developing the child's vocabulary and narrative skills to increase comprehension. There are three T's: tune in, talk more, and take turns that many experts recommend using to develop these skills. For younger children, we may start by asking what an item in the picture is, have the child repeat the word, and then we add a description in the second or third reading. For example, the duck can become the yellow duck. For older children with more language, you can ask open-ended questions. In the beginning, you might need to both ask and answer a complicated question to help them understand. For example, what do you think will happen next? What kind of place does that look like? How do you think the character feels? What did you think was funny about that book? What did you like about that book? By talking with the child about a book, you're also teaching them how to take turns in order to have a conversation.
We All Play is a great example of a book that creates opportunities to build vocabulary through talking about the action and animals on the pages. In the book, We All Play, there might be some unfamiliar words, but that is good. It gives us the opportunity to talk about what those new words mean in the story. The more words children hear, the larger the vocabulary will be later on, and this will help them when they learn to read. You can share new words you and your child encounter as you move through your day. By connecting new words to real-life experiences, you are strengthening the words' meanings.
Jabari Jumps shows readers one possible strategy for approaching a challenge. Reading stories about how to respond to a tricky situation helps to develop a child's social and emotional well-being. The more knowledgeable a child is about feelings, the more equipped they will be to navigate a classroom, leading to academic achievement. For young children, you can support this development by looking at a non-breakable mirror and acting out different emotions. For older children, you could support this skill by reading books about feelings and emotions, which builds the vocabulary.
If you ask yourself the questions on this slide, does the song I'm sharing tell a story? Does it involve fine and/or gross motor skills? Does it create smiles and laughter? Does it incorporate a book? And if you answer yes to a few of them, then you are doing a lot with just one activity. Singing, songs and rhymes build phonological awareness, which is being able to hear and play with the smaller sounds and words. And by singing or rhyming, you are slowing that language down. In singing, you're assigning a different note to symbols and words. With rhyming, you're often assigning a different tone that changes in pattern. This makes the words easier for younger ears to digest. While we do not know of a single source to research historical and cultural implications of children's songs and rhymes, you can complete basic web searches or ask library staff to help you research them. Like with books and other forms of media, many children's songs and rhymes that are widely used can have racist histories or perpetuate harm through stereotyping. Think about these possibilities while you're looking at your daily practices. In some cases, lyrics can be changed, and in other cases, you may want to select different songs or rhymes entirely. There are many singing books out there. Use your local children's librarian if you are an educator or parent to find these books. You can call your nearest library location, or you can use the educator match form on our website. You can see what that form looks like here on the right-hand side of this slide. Finding books that play on popular songs can sometimes make singing with your child feel more accessible and adds a twist to classics, like the book Car, Car, Truck, Jeep, which is sung to the tune of Ba Ba, Black Sheep. You compare movements with actions in the book to promote vocabulary and knowing the names of things and attaching meaning to them.
Singing allows children to hear and play with word sounds. Pairing a classic song like If You're Happy You Know It with book illustrations will help build print motivation, which is the interest and enjoyment of reading. If you find a book like If You're Happy and You Know It and sing that book and perform the motions, you are also building fine gross motor skills with the performance. Reading with children builds print motivation, which is having an interest in and enjoyment of books. Print motivation makes learning across subject areas easier because a child is associating learning with fun. When reading with babies and toddlers, point to print and letters. Without your guidance to the print, children will think you are making up the story and will spend 95% of their attention on the images. Using gestures and facial expressions when reading helps give critical context clues to the meaning of words. When you encourage participation, the book and the learning becomes both interesting and accessible. Don't force it, but extend responses and take time when there is interest. As grown-ups, we might want to finish things more than children. Sometimes it is okay to take a deep dive into a few pages of a book and stop, instead of forcing a full reading. When reading with preschoolers, reading provides opportunity to build vocabulary and background knowledge. It is impossible to pack a kid with all the vocabulary they need for kindergarten and beyond. But reading can assist with some background knowledge, especially if kids don't have the chance to physically go to that experience. For example, a kid may not be able to go to the ballet, but reading Firebird by Misty Copeland can teach them about what ballet looks like along with associated words. Later, if someone introduces a new ballet-related vocabulary word, it will be easier for them to grip that word and add it in if they have the background knowledge of what ballet is.
Books like Little Chick, with vibrant colors and tactile cutouts, invite you to turn each page to discover new animals and learn new vocabulary. These types of books help get young children excited and interested in books, which is the important early literacy skill called print motivation. Building on that excitement around books is an important foundation for learning to read. Finding books with cutouts and flaps, along with vibrant illustrations, is a great way to draw your little one into enjoying books early on. Let them explore the cutouts and sturdy pages by peering through the holes or sticking their fingers and hands through.
For preschool-age kids, digital resources can be used as meaningful learning activities when co-viewed. BookFlix is a library resource that is best viewed on a projector or TV screen hooked up to a laptop or tablet. It is not an app. If you are not in Allegheny County, your public library may have a similar service. BookFlix pairs nonfiction and nonfiction titles. Here we see you can watch the story of Come On Rain and then look at a nonfiction title all about rain. Another digital reading resource for preschool-aged kids is Libby. Libby can be used as an app or on a tablet or on a web browser, projected on the wall or TV. High-quality ebook content for children does not replace the activity of turning pages, but can provide access to book content in a different way.
So writing builds letter knowledge, which is noticing that differences in letters and the sounds they make. Writing builds print awareness, which is noticing print is everywhere. Environmental print is connected to writing skills because children need letter knowledge to combine with their ability to write. Meaningful environmental print is related to children's interests, aligned with current classroom content, co-created with children, and referred to often. So let's do a quick activity. And you can think about your environmental print in your day-to-day. If you're an educator, you can think about or write down one way that you already use environmental print in your classroom. If you're a caregiver, you can think about or write down the symbols your child notices or the ways you point out familiar environmental print like stop signs. And everybody can take a moment to think about or write down an idea on how to add more meaningful environmental print to your classroom or daily routine.
Thank you for watching Every Child Ready to Read. We hope that this information is helpful and meaningful to you.